Yo, what's good? Welcome back to Krabs Trades. Today we're going to be doing a video going over top-down analysis, how I form my higher time frame narrative to then take lower time frame entries, and we're also going to be going over the common things that a lot of people don't do in their higher time frame analysis that ends up costing them a lot of money when they take entries on the lower time frame. So yeah, make sure to watch this video all the way until the end because we're going to be dropping a ton of gems. But all that aside, let's get right into it. Let's first of all break down why you need top-down analysis in your trading. So first of all, it gives you context overall where the higher time frame wants to go. It'll build confidence in your lower time frame entry. It'll increase your win rate when you're aligned with that higher time frame order flow, and then you take a lower time frame entry, your probabilities of winning are way higher. It also makes trading way less stressful when you're aligned with the higher time frame. I know so many people that get caught up on the lower time frames and they don't really have like a map. They don't really have like a narrative of what they want price to do. When you really have a narrative built out on the higher time frame, it makes trading so much more simple, as well as it makes it so much easier to identify a A+ setup on the lower time frame. So before we actually dive into the chart, I want to break this down for you. This is literally how I see my top-down analysis. I'm not sure if you guys know what these are, but it's basically these toys that they go in each other, right? And the way that I see this is the weekly time frame, daily, 4 hour, hourly, 15 minute, 5 minute, and 1 minute. You see how the higher time frame aligns into the lower time frames, and eventually everything is all aligned here, right? And this is what you want to do in the chart as well. So let's actually take a look at this in live time in the chart. If we're on NQ right now, let's hop on the weekly time frame. So this is always the first thing that I'll do. I'll look at what the higher time frame narrative is, right? On the weekly time frame, I'm only really looking at like the closest few candles, but right here it just looks like the higher time frame narrative is pretty bullish. We have an obvious high here above, and it just looks as if price is just strong towards this high. So especially on the higher time frames, I really like to look at where the most obvious highs and lows are, because oftentimes price will just keep drawing towards these, especially when we have such strong momentum here. You can see this is the weekly time frame, so it's very significant. So after we have that weekly kind of narrative, we'll go down to the daily time frame. We'll start on the weekly, we'll go to the daily, we'll go to 4 hour, hourly, 15 minute, and I'll show you guys everything that I'm looking for. And then we'll go 5 minute, 1 minute, and then 1 minute for entries. So let's go back up to the weekly, right? Weekly, we're pretty bullish, right? Obvious swing high here. Looks like we could just keep drawing up towards this high, displacing to the upside. So let's now go down to the daily time frame. What I'm looking here on the daily time frame is what are we rejecting and what are we respecting? Very important. As well as I'm looking for liquidity sweeps, and I'm watching for SMTs. Higher time frame here, it looks like we had this kebab right here, which if you guys don't know what a kebab is, I have a video on that. It's just a PD array, basically like an order block kind of, but it's just a 3 candlestick pattern. You can see we tapped into it, rejected right away, and wicked out, right? So a big thing in my trading as well is I'm looking at what we're wicking out of and rejecting. So daily time frame, rejecting a kebab, and we still have this high above here, as well as remember on the weekly we had this high above, right? So let's keep going down the time frames. So far weekly, daily, I'm bullish, right? Let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see. Also, I'm keeping an eye on ES as well for any SMTs. If there's a SMT, I'll mark them out on all time frames just so that I'm aware of them, because SMTs are super powerful. All right, what else do we see here, right? Remember on the daily time frame, rejected this kebab. We'll go down to the 4 hour. Now we can see a clear reasoning for this run higher, right? We had a liquidity sweep here, right? Took out this low. Nice wick rejection. What I'm always keeping my eye on is the wicks. You can see how we kind of form this rejection wick. Just this wick alone and this sweep and this PD array rejection, this is helping me with my bias a lot. Because remember, we're still on the 4 hour time frame. Daily, weekly, daily 4 hour. Very higher time frames. So I overall kind of have a map now for when I go over to the hourly, the 15, the 5 minute, the 1 minute time frames. If I just dived into those time frames without really having a market direction, I would be completely lost. So right here on the hourly time frame, what do I see here? First thing is we have a SMT, right? We have a bullish SMT. You can see ES right here swept out this low. Let me circle it. ES swept out this low, NQ did not, right? So bullish SMT right there, we'll mark that up. And remember, we're rejecting the kebab on the daily time frame. On the 4 hour, we had a liquidity sweep. And now on the hourly, we have a bullish SMT, as well as what else? We're in an hourly fair value gap as well. So right now, everything straight up is telling me that we're very bullish here. And when you really form a higher time frame narrative like this, it simplifies so much. As well as if we pull a fib here, you can see we're actually rejecting OT of the range as well. So you guys see how we're just rejecting so many things at once? This is a big kind of reasoning for my bullish bias. Is look, we have OTE rejection, hourly fair value gap rejection, SMTs in, right? Higher time frame, remember 4-hour daily, weekly. We were very bullish, right? So now we're going to keep going down the time frames. We're going to see if on the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame, we're going to see if we're still rejecting bullish PD rays. Let's see. All right, 15-minute, don't see too much on the 15-minute. We do have an order block right here, just this last candle in this run lower. Rejecting that as well. Boom, another confluence. So many rejections, right? And that's a big way that I form my higher time frame narrative, is looking at rejections. Let's go down to the 5-minute. All right, 5-minute, we actually have a kebab right here as well. So you see how there's just so many stacked things here, and that is the reason for this wick running higher pretty much. It's just rejecting a ton of stacked confluences. Let's go down to the 1-minute, and now let's actually look for an entry. So I'm very, very bullish, right? Let's wait for an entry now. It's market open, 9:30 a.m. All right, making a run lower here. If we actually take a look right here, we're actually SMT'd up. ES left equal lows here. NQ swept out this low, so making this a bullish SMT, right? Remember higher time frame? If we go on the weekly, we were super bullish, right? Very bullish. We have this market maker buy model above right there. Just looking for that obvious high on the weekly. Remember on the daily time frame, rejected this kebab right here. Strong wick out, right? 4-hour, remember, liquidity sweep, right? As well as I forgot to mention, we are also in a 4-hour fair value gap. Rejected, as well as rejected the liquidity sweep. Beautiful. So now we'll just keep working down the time frames. Let's see, hourly. Hourly, now we're double SMT'd up. Double SMT. Hourly fair value gap, 50% of the hourly holding. We never closed below it. Let's keep going down the time frames. 15-minute, okay. Not too much on the 15-minute. We are in this 15-minute fair value gap as well. So let's keep going down. 5-minute. All right, we have a target. You know, unfilled 5-minute, could use that imbalance as a target. We'll keep it in mind. But let's go down to the 1-minute. What do I see? SMTs in. Once the 1-minute SMT's in, that's like my final confirmation that price is ready to reverse after all the higher time frame is aligned. So here, SMT's in, we can look for a IFVG after the SMT for final confirmation, or a iKebab or a CISD, whatever you want to use. Here for this example, we can just use this IFVG here, and let's see if this actually plays out. So just final confirmation IFVG after the SMT's in. This right here is the SMT. So let's see if this can actually play out. Everything here is aligned with that higher time frame, so let's see if it plays out. And beautiful 1 at 2, and also looks like we're going to take out these highs above. Nice, beautiful. So overall here, what we did is we aligned the higher time frame going down from the weekly, forming our narrative, being bullish. We have obvious high, strong displacement to the upside. Daily time frame, rejected a PD ray, right? Rejected that kebab. 4-hour liquidity sweep, 4-hour fair value gap. So you guys see how I'm just looking at what we're rejecting and what we're closing above and disrespecting. So that's a big way that I form my narrative, is I look at the wicks. The wicks tell a huge story, and a lot of people, they don't keep this in mind when they're trading. But wicks can really help you so much with bias, as well as SMTs, because here you can see how strong we keep wicking out of these PD rays, right? Wicked out of it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. SMTs in, optimal trade entry of the range as well. Just so many stacked PD rays here. And you can see the run higher that we got, and we actually got our entry at the bottom of the hourly candle as well. So yeah, 15-minute, same thing. And then you can see how I use that 1-minute for entry after we put in a SMT, and then a 1-minute inverse or CISD, whatever you want to enter off of for that final confirmation. So in this exact scenario, what we did is we aligned the weekly time frame with the daily time frame, with the 4-hour, with the hourly, with the 15, with the 5-minute, and then using that 1-minute time frame for our entry. And you guys can see how it basically aligns, right? Everything's aligned. And when you get down to that lower time frame, your entry's so precise when everything on the higher time frame is already aligned. So overall, just to recap what the weekly and the daily is for, it's for narrative building. You basically want to look for your higher time frame direction, some higher time frame targets, and look at just the higher time frame momentum and displacement. What are we respecting and what are we rejecting? And are there any obvious highs or lows near? The 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute, this is more for your daily trading ranges. And you basically just want to look for your range for the day that is aligned with the higher time frame. So you guys remember how I was marking up that OT of the range? That was like a 15-minute or hourly type of range here. 5-minute and 1-minute, this is where you can look for your entries and get a very precise entry when it's aligned with that higher time frame narrative, and then you can execute your trade just like in the example that we went over. If you guys made it all the way till the end of the video, make sure to drop a W in the comments section if you guys enjoyed, if you guys learned something, or if you guys saw this as a good refresher overall. But also very important for anybody that's still a struggling trader, if you're not yet funded with a prop firm or you haven't received your first ever prop firm payout, I currently have an offer where I guarantee to work with you one-on-one until you're funded over 6 figures with prop firms and receive your first ever payouts. If that's something that you're interested in, then hit the first link in the description where you can apply to work with me one-on-one, and it is guaranteed results. So if you don't make money within 4 months of working with me, then I'll literally send you $1,000 back. Also, comment below if you guys like these more educational style of videos, which I'll be dropping more of very soon. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button as well. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as well if you're new here. But yeah, till next time, I'm gonna catch you guys. Peace out.